This is painful. And no, I'm not talking about the overhead lights, although that's painful too. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably heard my recent tiny rant about like not liking overhead lights. I like candles, I like lamps. I just don't like overhead lights. And I feel like in marriage there are two types of people and they find each other. The ones who like overhead lights and the ones who don't. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. The painful thing I'm talking about is my grocery bill. We're going to do an Azure Standard haul, and I spent $1,195.80. That's a lot of money. So let's get going and we'll talk about it. I'll show you what I got. All right, so it is just baby and I. It is 10 after 9. I have to be at my Azure Standard pickup at 9:45, and it's a half an hour away. So typical me, always pushing it. I would love to work on that. Oh, sorry, baby. I talked and woke him up. It's been so quiet. I would love to be better about my time management. So, yeah, I don't have an excuse. I just do this. I just run late places, and that's not good. But maybe I'll not do that someday. All right. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. So let's go get the baby in the car. Let's do this. This really worked out perfect because I had to go get my Azure Standard order at the closest drop, which is about a half an hour away, and John had all the other kids, so it was just baby and I. My mom does Azure Standard too, and so I knew I would see her there. I was gonna video like the process of loading up the car and picking everything up, but I saw my mom and then we just started talking and solving world problems and conspiracies and everything. And we sat in my car for longer than I should have sat in there, but I didn't video anything as far as loading up. I just figured, okay, well, I'm gonna take this time, talk to my mom. I'll show YouTube what I got when I get home. So now we're already back home. If you're not familiar with what Azure Standard is, it is a co-op. You do monthly grocery orders, and they have groceries that you're just not going to find other places, like raw dairy products, like actual pastured meats, you like pastured whole chickens. They have everything organic, and you can buy things in bulk. So it's essentially like going to an Amish community, but not, because you just go to the nearest drop. I have 2 drops within a half an hour of my house, which isn't bad at all. This is by far my biggest Azure Standard order that I have ever done in the 2 years that I've been using Azure Standard. And really, I think it's because I had it in my mind that it was a big deal to do like a big monthly grocery pickup. And so I would just put it off thinking, ooh, well, I'll get my order in like next week or next week. And then I would end up missing the cutoff altogether. And here's the thing. It is painful to like pay that much at one time for a big grocery haul, but at the end of the day, when I plan things out and I'm shopping for things that we actually need, I'm actually saving money by doing like this one big grocery haul. And then I do some like Thrive Market orders in the middle of the month when I run out of things. And there's some things that, you know, if Azure Standard's out of stock on things I like, I can usually find them over at Thrive. But anyway, I'm actually saving money by avoiding those little like midweek grocery store trips where I just grab this and that, and before you know it, it's $150. So it's painful to do the big, huge haul every month, but I'm gonna start doing it, especially once our cold room gets finished in the basement, because that will just give me more storage and I can be prepared, be stocked up, and have like a basement grocery store. That has always been the goal since we moved into this house, but you know how things go around here. It's just everything is painfully slow to go, but we're getting there. We're trucking right along. So as I unpack all this and get it put away, which I gotta get the cold stuff put away first, I'll just talk you through it, tell you what I got, and who knows, since I brought up conspiracy theories, maybe we'll solve some world problems along the way. But for now, let's get going, because John and the kids are gonna be home in a half an hour, so I have to get lunch done too. I have to get the stuff put away, get lunch done. We're just gonna see. We're just gonna see how it goes. So as I started putting things away, you will see here soon a visitor will be coming in, and it is Uncle Dicky. And I don't know if I've ever introduced you guys to Uncle Dicky, but he is just one of our favorite people. And on this day, he came over to show me a picture that he had printed from his friend. His friend is a photographer and I guess is like a deep sea diver and takes pictures underwater. And he sent him this picture and Uncle Dicky got it printed and he wanted to show me. And he said it was some kind of coral, but I said that looks like the picture of what they were telling us coronavirus was. Uncle Dicky does deal in conspiracy theories as well, so we can usually solve some problems anytime he comes over, but I don't know if he agreed that it looked like the coronavirus. Anyway, here I have a bowl of my gut healing soup. We have made that before. For those of you who are new and don't know, I do tend to like have autoimmune flare-ups in the postpartum season, and I'm limited on what I can eat, but I've learned to manage it with diet. I have some videos on that. You can go back and watch those. I also have a couple of recipes on my blog, just different like gut friendly recipes, things that I can actually eat when I'm having an autoimmune flare-up. But let's get back to talking about the grocery order here. So what you see here is over $1,000, almost $1,200 worth of groceries. That is so painful, but this is all really high quality food. I bought a lot of things in bulk, and the goal is to do, more of this, stock our house up so I'm not running out of things constantly and having to run to the store. Even though I have 5 kids, and that seems like a lot of mouths to feed, it actually hasn't been because my oldest is only 12, and little kids just don't eat that much. But when they start getting older, that is when they really start eating a lot. And I would say really just in the last couple of years is when I've noticed, we're just going through the food is so much faster. And it has been such an adjustment. It's been an adjustment like figuring out how much meat to stock in our freezers. We had to buy another deep freeze because we need to keep more. We're just running through meat so much faster than we were before. And it's been that way with everything. Like I said, yeah, just a big adjustment for me. And I think the thing that has really been missing is doing these huge hauls. Like I know a lot of people do Costco, but I just really like Azure Standard. I like that it is a co-op and that they do the drops, that I can just go pick up my groceries. Like I don't have to go in a busy grocery store with kids and fill up 5 million carts with a bunch of groceries. I can just put it all in my car. And like I mentioned earlier, they just have things that you can't find other places, like raw dairy products. This Alexandre brand of A2A2 dairy, you just saw me put some milk in the freezer. That is one of my favorite things from Azure Standard. I love the Alexandre brand. The dairy is just top notch, and it is pasteurized, but it's at a very low temperature, so it's just a really, really high quality product. And like I said, it's A2A2. You can freeze the bottles, so I buy like big cases of milk and half and cream and stock up my freezer, and then I have dairy on hand. Now, I am counting down the days until my cows have their calves in January and I don't have to buy dairy from anywhere, but for now, this is a really good option for us. Okay, so just unboxing some more stuff here. Azure carries Redmond real salt products, which I love Redmond. That is where I get all of my salts. What I just showed you was seasoned salt. We love their seasoned salt, so I just got a box of 6. Yeah, I'm learning that buying in bulk when you have a lot of mouths to feed, although painful with the upfront cost, in the long run, it just saves so much time to have things, on hand. And it really does save money because, like I said, then you're not going to the store and impulse buying and buying other things that you don't actually need. Okay, now I'm opening up something that this was the first time I bought this. This is A2A2 ice cream. By the way, there's Uncle Dicky. We've been chatting away the whole time that I was filming this video, and he said that he would be a YouTube star if I showed him on the camera. So there is Uncle Dicky. But anyway, I ordered these ice creams, different flavors, and for my family to try. I cannot have ice cream right now because my stomach is weird because of the autoimmune stuff, but I do love ice cream, and my family loved all of these. I think the Meyer lemon was their favorite flavor. And, if you do have digestive issues, trying A2A2 ice cream might be something to try. So let's go through everything else that's sitting here in these boxes and in bags on my counter. You can see that I have like a 50-pound bag of Epsom salt. That is another thing that I throw into the bathtub all the time. We're always going through Epsom salt. And not all Epsom salt is quality. Some of it has just crap in there. So I just got this huge bag. I'll put it in a 5-gallon bucket. and then put it under my bathroom cabinet, and then just, refill the jar that I have in my bathroom. What else? Oh, in my hand, what I'm putting away, that was one of their seasonal produce specials that they had this month, which was broccolini. So they do have fresh produce as well. And I love that it's, seasonal. It's always fresh and you can get it in bulk. So you see right in front of me a massive bag. I think that's like 50 pounds of carrots. And I got that big bag because I wanted to freeze dry carrots. That is something that I had not done yet. I didn't have enough extra carrots in my garden to freeze dry, but I've just really been wanting to try my freeze dryer for that. So that's why I have that massive bag of carrots. I just put away blocks of cheese. I love Azure Standard's raw cheese. I don't know anywhere else to get huge blocks of raw A2A2 like pastured cheese. And even though I have my own cows, I've tried cheese making and I just can't make cheese as good as I can buy it from Azure Standard. So I'm just going to stick with their cheese. All right, let me show you some of the grains that I got, because I got a grain mill. I'm, going to buckle down and mill as much of my grain as possible rather than just buying store-bought flour. There's another block of cheese, by the way. I think the cheeses that I got this month, I got 1 block of mozzarella, 1 of cheddar, and 2 of jalapeno jack. Or pepper jack. I couldn't remember that. Pepper jack and jalapeno jack. But we eat a lot of cheese. My husband loves cheese. Anyway, the ancient grains I got were emmer, einkorn, and I don't know how to say it, so tell me how to say it. Is it kamut or kamut? I've heard it said both ways, but I got 3 different kinds of ancient grains, whole grains this month that I will be, messing around with my grain mill and kind of getting familiar with those. Also just had to try this A2A2 chocolate milk. What else there? Got some whole nuts, macadamia nuts, walnuts, pecans. I like to do a lot of baking. I also just like to eat like nuts and yogurt and different things. What else do we have here? Okay, this I think it says blueberries on the box, and I'm pretty sure it's actually a massive box of blueberries. I forget how many pounds it was, but I did get a huge box of frozen blueberries. I don't know if this was the actual blueberry box or not, but we use so much fruit for making smoothies. Okay, no, there was something else in here. That is cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, and that is avocado oil. So the olive oil I really like to use for cooking and drizzling over, food and stuff. The avocado oil I use to make mayonnaise. I just prefer mayonnaise made with avocado oil as opposed to olive oil. It's more mild. So yeah, that's just a preference. Also, there was a massive bag of garlic that you see there. There's Uncle Dicky going to show his photograph that he printed to all the kids, because the kids have all arrived home. Okay, there's the big box of frozen blueberries, but I love that they offer the option to get fresh or frozen fruit in bulk, because like I said, we go through a lot of it. I like to put frozen fruit in my smoothies, pancakes, muffins, all the things, especially blueberries. My kids always want blueberry everything. That's their favorite. Let's see, what have we not covered here? I'm trying to show you all of my stuff I got here, all organic, just top notch as far as quality. I love that. I love when I can find a grocery source to where I don't have to read labels. That stresses me out. I do not have time for that. I am so excited about my grain. Still waiting on my grain mill to arrive. It should be here any day. I don't have like any, planned fancy grain storage, but I do have so many gallon jars. I'll probably just start with that. Just good old Sharpie and gallon jars, make sure I label everything. I mean, you can kind of tell by looking if you're familiar with whole grains, but my einkorn here, I'm gonna start organizing and putting all my stuff away. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I didn't show you guys in my order. I did get a huge 25-pound bag of salt as well, so that was like close to $100. But when you can and preserve, you go through a lot of salt. I just go through a lot of salt, with cooking, but canning and preserving especially, that will set you back on some salt. So I do buy my salt in bulk. Okay, so now I'm just filling jars with grain. So this is my grain storage method for now. I'm just going to use gallon jars and half-gallon jars. Maybe as I get going with getting into a better groove and rhythm with milling my own grain and, you know, adjust my baking, then I'll adjust my grain storage system. But Sharpies and jars work just fine now. And by the way, Azure Standard has gallon jars. I like that too. Gallon jars can be really hard to come by, and if you order them, there's another place I get gallon jars from, I think uline.com, but the shipping is outrageous. It can be like $50 just for shipping. So they have gallon jars, they have half gallon jars, they have all different kinds, sizes of mason jars, and they have other things aside from just food as well. They have everything. Yeah, it's just like a huge grocery store that just has everything that you would need. The only complaint I have is that sometimes they are out of stock on stuff, which is not the end of the world. I can wait, but I usually just place a Thrive order and get what I can't find at Azure Standard. And between those two things, Thrive and Azure, I can pretty well stock my house. Okay, so my boys are
That's great, guys.
outside putting some mulch in my little rose bed for me. They are at the age where they are just actually very helpful. Like, they can do actual chores to be really helpful. And we are going to fast forward to the next day where my daughter is going to be helping me inside put these carrots to good use. We are going to preserve this massive, gigantic bag of carrots. I'm going to be freeze drying them. So this was 50 pounds of carrots, I believe. And I figured out that we could fit like 2 10-pound bags on 5 freeze dryer trays. So we didn't freeze dry all the carrots. I kept some out in the fridge, but we did 3 rounds by the time it was all said and done of freeze dried carrots. And then I just have them stored in mason jars, and that will be so handy for just grabbing and making soups, or, you know, throwing into a shepherd's pie or into chicken and dumplings or anything that would require like diced up carrots. I would say one of the challenges in this current season of motherhood is that my work that I do in the house is just not as fun as the work that my husband does outside around the farm. And that is the division of labor we have for the most part. Like, we're not legalist, strict people like, oh, he has never changed a diaper and I have never stepped 1 foot outside. It's not how we work. Like, we will both step in and give 100% and help each other out. But it does work out well to just have a good flow to where I have my things I am skilled at and I can do really quickly, and he has his things. And it works out for us that my things are inside, his things are outside for the most part. But, you know, my things they're just not as fun. They're just not. To me, they are, because I'm a full-grown woman. I'm 35 years old. I'm a mother. I like these things. But my daughter's only 11, and she really wants to go do the farm work with Daddy and the boys all the time. However, I do need to teach her these things. These are skills that she's going to need to know. So I try to make them fun. And, you know, sometimes when I keep her back with me to work in the kitchen, at first she's not that enthusiastic about it. But once we get going and I, you know, start teaching her about this or that, or we do something, you know, that she likes, like canning. She does actually like to help me with canning. Then she forgets about missing out on the farm stuff with the boys, and she gets into it. And, you know, she's really developing her skills. My husband actually came in the other day when we were chopping carrots, and he said, wow, your culinary skills, you're looking pretty good there, because she's getting really fast and precise with everything. And I told her, you know, these are skills. Little things in the kitchen that they don't really look like they would be that difficult, but the more you do them, the better you get, the faster you get. And it's just like anything else. These are skills. And I tell my daughter, you don't want to be learning basic homemaking and culinary skills while you're also learning the skills of motherhood. Learning those things at the same time is really hard. A lot of us, you know, millennials have kind of had to learn both of those things, because when we were in school, that just wasn't taught, that, you know, homemaking skills are valuable. But then we realized that once we became mothers and wives, that those skills are valuable and you need those skills. Whether you work outside of the home or not, you need to know how to put a meal together and how to run a household. And it's really hard to learn those things once you have children underfoot. So, you know, I'm just kind of preparing her for that now. Okay, here's the stocked fridge. Yeah, I got a lot of cabbage. Gonna be making lots of sauerkraut. Got lots of big blocks of cheese there, lots of produce. I got there, different seasonal things. These are all leeks, by the way, leeks and beets that you see. I love adding these, everything you see here produce wise, that's all things that I love like putting in my soup. That is one of the only things that I can really eat when I am postpartum. Okay, a little pantry organization here. I refilled all my little canisters with my baking supplies, like, chocolate chips, nuts, dates, raisins, all those things. And here's my little grain corner for now, my grain storage. Like I said, that's all. I might, change some of that, but there it is. We will get into milling and cooking and baking with fresh grain. You guys, I'm just gonna like share it as I do it. I'm clearly not an expert. I'm just getting started, but feel free to learn along with me. I will link the grain mill that I got in the description. It is something that I researched a lot, and I've known which grain mill I wanted for a long time. It just took me a while to take the plunge. So we had Uncle Dicky over for dinner the next day, and I prepared one of my 5 million cabbages that I got in that huge box of cabbage that you saw from Azure Standard. And I just made, this is super simple. It's just cheesy. I call a lot of things like cheese. If it has cheese in it, I just call it cheesy whatever. So it's cheesy cabbage. You just saute cabbage, onion, and garlic in some olive oil, and then add a little bit of heavy cream and cheese. And there you have it, cheesy cabbage. It's very delicious. If you like cabbage, that is, which I really, really do like cabbage. This was a very German meal we were having. We had bratwurst, some kind of potato, and cheesy cabbage. So our ancestors would be proud. And I was waiting for Uncle Dicky to come over, but he was taking forever. He had to walk to his car and get his Diet Pepsi, and so we just went ahead and sat. The kids came in, we sat down, we tried waiting for Uncle Dicky, but I guess it was a long walk to his car, I don't know. So we sat down, we prayed, and we enjoyed our Azure Standard meal. All right, well, that is all I have for this video. I will put my Azure Standard link in the description, so just tap the more button below the video. I will link the grain mill that I got. I'll also put a list of like my favorite items from Azure Standard. And next week we will be back to talk about a really fun topic. We're going to talk all about baby sleep. So I will see you next week.